Tax Minute. This is Tony Novak here to share a few points on how to stay out of tax trouble. Before we jump right in, let me just note that this is Saturday, September 16th. It's also the Rosh Hashanah holiday. I normally record this daily. I took 2 days off because yesterday was, for my practice, the biggest tax filing deadline. And unfortunately, the reason it's the biggest deadline is that there are too many small businesses, real estate entities in particular, in my practice, that have complicating issues, don't do proper bookkeeping, and then have a crisis right at the end of the before the deadline. So that's the reason for 2 days off. And that leads into our topic, which is alternative methods of tax accounting. So most of us are familiar with the usual method of tax accounting. We call it counting. Whether the counting is done by yourself, by your own bookkeeping, but through your own bank statements, by physically counting out a pile of bills, um, or by a third party, that is, whoever processes your W 2 or sends you a 1099 or your bank statements. Those are counting methods. And so while we have an obligation to pay taxes on our income from whatever source derived, we need a method to figure out how much is that income. So the obvious method is counting it. However, in many circumstances, more than uh, I think most people realize, counting is not a practical method. Many small businesses don't keep records. They mix up cash flows between different entities. It's hard to tell what's personal, what's business, and what's some other business. It really gets to be a mess. So in that case, is this I would say when I that this is one of the areas where a CPA with a law background really helps. Here's the point: there's nothing in tax law that says you have to use a counting method. That is, we have a record to an obligation to properly report our income and an obligation to do that type of work if we run a business, particularly. But there is no law saying how we have to do that. No one says you have to have a QuickBooks account. We have to run everything through one business bank account. It's up to us. We need to come up with a credible method. So I'm just going to, and there are many credible methods of which to determine taxable income, which either we can use as taxpayers or I can use as a representative, or the IRS or the state can use in the event that we're not cooperative in providing our own alternative arrangement. So I'm going to just mention a couple of the types that I commonly use and have used, particularly with late arriving business entities. One is sampling. Suppose we don't have a full year's worth of bank statements. We don't have records of what was going on. However, we can derive that some things are pretty much predictable and based on the past. For example, a phone bill, pretty much the same month to month. Uh, equipment lease, an automobile lease, that's the same month to month. Mortgage, the amount of interest and principal changes a little bit, but we can make a pretty darn good estimate as to how to do it. So sampling and estimation, those two methods right there, are legitimate, valid reasons. Another one I just want to mention, and before wrapping up this minute, is looking at changes in the balance sheet. So, in real life, what does that mean? If you are a taxpayer and you reported, say, 100,000 income, but there's a new Harley Davidson and a new boat in your driveway that appear to have no liens or liabilities on them, the service can reasonably use that as an accounting method to determine that you have not reported all your income, and you, in fact, have more than $100,000 of income that they know about. So those are just a couple methods. There are many more. And I think, again, that's something that I think that a CPA with a tax law background is able to really shine when those issues become necessary. So thanks for joining today. I'll be back tomorrow with another Tax Minute. A whole bunch of fresh ideas and feedback came in over these last couple of days, so I'll be covering all of those topics. I'm easy to reach at taxproblems.cpa. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you want to talk one-on-one, please use the Let's Talk link, and I'm happy to do that.